Yo.
That intro never gets old for me, man.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a banger. Oh, that's too low. Let's get going.
There we go. Nope, still too low.
There we go. There we go.
That works. All right. Hot start. Hot start.
Yep. Went to Boston this weekend to be a part of WATP and the Dick Show Live, and show was really good. It's probably the best live show I've been to. And on the way back, so the way there, I flew United, St. Louis, Chicago, Boston, no issues. It was a way too long of a layover in Chicago, but got there right about when I was scheduled to get there. The way back, I fly out American, supposed to be St. Louis to DC to St. Louis, Boston to DC to St. Louis. Get to DC, leave Boston at like 4 p.m. Get to DC about 6. Supposed to fly out at 8. 7:30 rolls around. No, actually, we go past 8, and they're like, there's no crew for this plane. The crew that was supposed to come clear this flight ended up at Dulles, so we're trying to find a crew here that can do this. And it's like, okay, why don't you just have them Uber over here?
Yeah, it's not that far.
So the flight gets bumped back now. Instead of leaving just before 8, it's now leaving just before 9. It's like, okay, cool. And then so the artist that I'm working for out of town texts me, and he's like, hey, we good for tomorrow still? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in DC right now. Hopefully there's no like plane shenanigans, but I should be home by like 10 o'clock and I'll be out there. He's like, great. So then it gets delayed again. Now, instead of leaving at 9, it's now leaving at 10. And I get into it with the fucking guy at the ticket counter because my headphones have died, because I've now, there was supposed to be a 2-hour layover has now become a 4 and growing layover. So my headphones died. So I have them charging, and I'm watching a movie on my tablet at like a really low volume, just while I was eating dinner. And he's like, if you don't have headphones, you can't watch movies. And I was like, where does it say that anywhere? That is not a policy anywhere. And he's like, we're trying to work here, and I don't want to hear your thing. It's rude to people. I'm like, you're being really fucking rude right now. My headphones are dead because you couldn't get me out of this fucking airport 2 hours ago. And now you're just being a huge prick for absolutely no reason. And then they moved our gate to like the other side of the fucking airport and pushed it back yet 1 more hour. So now it's not theoretically leaving DC until 11. And about like 10:30, they finally cancel the flight. And so then there's a huge line to go get rescheduled. They put me in a hotel that doesn't have a shuttle service from the airport, which makes a ton of sense. So they're like, we're going to give you an Uber voucher that will pay to get there and get back. I get to the hotel at like 11. It is... And then my flight out the next morning is at 5 a.m. So it's like 4 hours that I get to maybe try and sleep, which of course I don't, because the room is hot and I'm stressed about whether or not I'm going to oversleep and miss this flight and not get back to
worst,
St. Louis.
Man. Having a set early time to wake up for a flight is the most stress. Like, you can't sleep properly. That's just impossible.
So end up then getting back there. They gave me a food voucher, which the black lady at Starbucks is like, we don't take those. Like, you're the only food vendor that's open right now. And the only...
Well, did you have your EBT card? Because maybe she would accept that.
The only caveat that was given to me was that you can't get PF Chang's, not you can't get Starbucks. So then it was DC to Charlotte, and then finally Charlotte to home. And I got home at like 9 a.m., like 11 hours after I was supposed to actually be home. Wasn't able to go work for the guy like I was supposed to. And I was so exhausted that I just went home and like got in bed and slept most of the day. It was awful. I fucking hate flying. In the time that it took me to actually from leaving to getting to the airport to getting to my home, it was longer than it would have taken for me to just drive from Boston.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was super annoyed. And I even kind of booked it that way so that I had a little bit of time on Monday to go do some touristy stuff.
What is the drive from Boston to St. Louis?
I spent 19 hours in the airport.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're home.
Yeah, me too. But it was a fun show. It was a great time hanging out with those guys in the lead up and afterwards. And then so the Sunday after we finished the show, we all like got up kind of reasonably early and we're like, let's all, grab lunch and then go do something. So we like go to this little Irish corner bar that's down from the Airbnb from us, and we like got some lunch, and then we're like, all right, what should we go do? And we all just kind of ended up going back to the Airbnb and like napping and watching Starman videos and just being super chill, which was probably more fun than like trying to go out and do a bunch of touristy shit when you're just like you've gone through that whole show and that whole like cathartic process of getting it out the door. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
So should we jump into the show, I guess? Or
yeah, let's jump into the show. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by Revenge. I shall have mine. Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get. From north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Ted Bird, and joining me, coming to you live from the most dangerous city in America, St. Louis, Missouri, and joining me from way down south, it's your favorite uncle. That's right, El Chaco.
Hola, me and Chata.
Welcome back.
We're back. We're back we're on the free stream again.
Yeah.
Where enemies can watch us.
Yep.
Log everything we say and hold it against us.
As I hope they do.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Turns of events. I don't know how much. I'm gonna let you just take that mic for a bit here because I got stuff I can bitch about, but I mean
so I last week I was fired from my full-time job in theater because of mean tweets that were posted on the Here's What I Don't Get podcast Twitter account. Absolutely no forethought, just we saw these, we don't like them, you're fired.
Yeah, I don't think that's legal. I get
actually,
that
it is.
In Missouri is a weird place where you can kind of fire at will, but I don't think that's.
It certainly shouldn't be legal, and we shouldn't live in a society where some faggot troon can get triggered on the internet and then take screenshots and.
Oh, they'll do that anyway.
Your life changed because they lost an internet argument.
They'll never be a woman. That is
a factual statement.
You should probably get some help so you don't kick out a chair. And
no, I say go for the chair.
Yeah.
41% yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I just it's funny because like we had done a bonus episode right before the hammer dropped, and I started thinking about this too. I'm like, if somebody's on a Hellbound Revenge tour, are they like in the Discord now?
Maybe.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know like so if that person's listening, they probably aren't, but if they are, now what? Now what, bitch? Now what? Like did you feel like you feel like a big man? Because you're certainly not a woman. And so like here's the thing, man.
Probably jerking off to the thought of it.
It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. That's the thing, man. When you told me about it, I immediately started, just like looking up what I could. The way that it was done to you, not legal. There there's some factors there. We won't get into that, but
yeah,
there's some factors there that you know, it's funny. Didn't I bitch about protected classes recently?
yeah, you did in one of the episodes that I finally got out last week.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah.
But no, man,
It's just,
I'm sorry.
it's just cowards. It's like, you know,
well,
here's the thing.
again, just block and move on. You're not making the world a better place.
This person complained, and
yeah, but I think I'm as bad as that person is, your employer, shame on them.
Oh,
like, shame on them. Shame on them. It's like, oh, you know, like I don't know. I don't want to.
HR is daycare for useless people that can't create anything, which is why it's massively overstaffed by women who are driven by feelings and not by facts, and don't exist. Their brains don't work to solve problems. They exist to comfort and make people feel better.
Well, it's
and then the men that you get in HR are so effeminate and feminized in our society that they run everything through this consensus filter, and it's like, well, if everyone thinks this is bad, it must be bad. And it's like,
yeah,
is it? Like, these,
I don't know, man.
These are not insane opinions. These are like an average. This is the average person feels this way.
Whatever
the average person does not give a fuck about Pride Month. The average person thinks that women are a little bit hysterical. The average person doesn't like AI images. This is what the average person is doing. You're so fucking sheltered in your world of HR and creating nothing that you can't fathom. You're unwilling to speak to a person that has ideas different from you. And you're also so fucking stupid. You got one of these 110 IQs. So you're smarter than like the average guy at Walmart, but not actually smart enough to solve problems. So when you see an idea, you can't entertain an idea without accepting it in your head. You can't like create a model of what someone else might think because you're too fucking stupid to do it.
Well,
I'm tired of being saddled with these mid-wit 110 IQ retards that think they're the fucking God's gift to everything and that they're doing such great work because they work through empathy. You're not. You're a piece of shit.
They're actually not empathy.
Civil war to round all of you up and put you into fucking camps.
It's funny because the thing is it's actually an empathy deficit.
It is.
It's an absolute empathy deficit because the thing is that
performative empathy.
The only thing that they have to work with is projection. Yeah. So they project on their horrible internal thoughts onto other people and go, whoa, if he thinks that way, and I think all these horrible things that I would do about, you know, if I would nuke the world and do all this kind of stuff, then he would be 10 times worse because that's what I know about anybody who's not like me. Is I take what the TV tells me about them.
Well, they want to kill you. They want to kill you for disagreeing with them. So they assume that because you're also a bad guy and you disagree with them, that you also want to kill. You also feel that urge to kill from disagreements, but in a worse way because you're a bad guy. And I don't. I want to have a goof on the internet and then walk away because I'm not a fucking terminally online porn addicted retard.
Well, that's the funny thing, man. Like, I don't know. Like when I was growing up, I'm an old man now, and when I was growing up on the playground, when you're a kid, like we were calling each other all the kinds of bad names.
Yeah,
all of them. You know, and like for example, the word faggot. And I think I've talked about this before, but like the word means like we've all heard it. So, it means a bundle of sticks. Yeah, but when did we stop? When we start calling people that? Well, we started calling people. Then that whole Louis C.K. thing, and that whole like, oh, we used to burn homosexuals, and that's why they called them that. And it's like that's a lie. That's a complete fabrication lie that never took place. In the etymology of it, what it was to carry a bundle of sticks is a burden. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel good. Okay. You know, you'd carry a big bundle of sticks back to either build your fences or build your thatch huts, or you would use it for fuel. So gathering it and tying it together and putting it on your back was a burden. It was a pain it was a pain. And the thing is that you would have that burden that would go with them. So when did they start calling the those who stole this month that word? And it came from in those time periods, like you're not producing, you're not helping, you're not helping us hunt. You're holding us back. You're not helping us get forward. You're not producing. You're not reproducing. You're a burden. That's what it came from.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it came from.
I mean, I subscribe completely to the South Park definition of the word. You know, I'm not calling someone a faggot because they're gay. I'm calling them a faggot because they're a faggot.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, when we got the, you know, I clarify, you know, like, it's like, okay, you know, there are same-sex attracted individuals out there who I'll pray for and hope for, and that ain't that like kind of like I'll pray for you. No. Like, I'll pray for them. Like, they need help. There's some people, not like 90% of them had some sort of early age problem happen to them that muddled with their wiring. Now, a lot of these
I was talking to my sister, and she was talking about how all of her friends that are trans were sexually assaulted when they were young.
Yes.
And it's like,
that's the problem. But the problem is we can't talk about it, and we're not actually helping anybody. So going back to the person who decided to take you on, you didn't help anything. You didn't help yourself. You didn't help anything, really.
If anything, I hate gays and Pride Month and women more now. I mean, I didn't really hate them before, but now I'm definitely feeling like there's some real hate. I'm feeling like
well, that's the thing, you know, the woman who fired you, we won't get into it. But it's here, I'm going to switch the subject. just for legal purposes, because you still got stuff ahead of you. So just for legal purposes, I'm going to switch the subject to a different case. So what did I last update with? Like, it was the neighbors were
the last time, I'm thinking it was in the bonus episode, you're talking about how the grandma went to communion or went to.
Was that on the bonus episode, or was that two episodes ago? I think that was on the freebie episode. I think on the bonus episode, I think I was talking about how we had some land lined up that they were going to move on to, and
whether or not it was vandalism. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I came back from Asuncion on Sunday, and came back to the news of the seller of the property, they want half of it up front now. Like half of the money up front now. I was like, no, that ain't happening. And they're like, but they'll pull out on the sale. I'm like, sure they will. I'm sure they will, and they won't find another buyer. Oh no, they could get 35 million for that. No, they wouldn't. No, they couldn't, because there's like a bunch of places that are selling lots that are cleaner than that, more accessible than that, for 35 million with, you know, monthly payments and stuff like that. Nah, I don't. I'm not threatened by that at all. And they're like, well, you know, because like they're afraid that the family won't move, and I'm like, so am I. I'm afraid the family won't move. This is why I'm not going to give you the money up front. Like, they're family members of these squatters. They're kind of like, you know, it's like the nephew of the old lady, right? Her brother's kid, but her brother's the baby mama or the mother of this kid is not. They're not married. They're divorced. So she's the lady who's selling the property. And I negotiated it to get him a little bit more property, like a little bit more space. And then I come back on the Sunday, and then I find out, then like the drug addict's son, he came back, he took a look at it. He started bitching to his mom. They all started complaining about it's too small. It's not tidy enough, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, I guess I'm just going to kick blue helmets and tractors, and, you know, like, that's just the way it's going to be. And you chose this. Like, you were going to get some land. Now you're not going to get land. And so my guy had brought over a bunch of wood already to like build on their property. Yeah, that was the other thing, is that they wanted us to build like with brick and cement. And I was like, you're not getting an upgrade on my behalf. Like, that's not after all you've dragged me through. You're not getting an upgrade. You're getting exactly what you have based on, you know, the materials that you have. That's how I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you the land. So anyways, my guy, he had brought over this wood to help with the posts for their new home. And he's like, well, what should I do with my wood? And I'm like, well, you should go get it back. Right? Like, goes over there on Tuesday. He goes and he takes it back. That sent everybody in panic mode, right? Because the seller lady, I called her bluff, because she was like, "Oh, I need this for the legal fees," and blah. I'm like, "Dude, I pay the legal fees. I'm the buyer. What are you talking about? like, there's no you don't pay the legal fees. I pay the legal fees." And then secondly, I already have a lawyer who's got that taken care of. And then on top of it, I'm not giving you any money until those people are over there. I need certainty. They're not going to sign a contract with me until they have a house built over there. So we got this whole, this whole chicken and egg thing going on. So I'm like, I'm not going to be the one out money. So if you want them over there, if you want my money, let them over there, let them build the thing, and I'll give you the money as soon as they're over there. You have my word on that. Right? But I'm in a low trust society, so they don't believe anything that anybody says. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. They won't sign. You won't sign. Then all you got is my word on it, because it's not going to be my money that's going to be, sending the guarantee, because that's not going to work.
Is there not like a trust that you could say, give the money to and have them hold it until?
I guess. We're talking about like, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, it's like $1,200 US, right? Like we're talking about $1,200 US.
Yeah,
it's still a pain in the ass for me, man. Like it's still a pain in the ass for me. I don't like paying. It's 2,000 Canadian dollars. It's what it comes down to. It's about 2,000 Canadian dollars, and it's like I don't love this. This sucks, and like I don't like the stress of it. I don't like the startiness of it. So, anyways, they finally somebody talked some sense in the family. No more complaining. Take what you get. And also, I'm like, the other thing was they were expecting like us to build them houses. I'm like, that's not how this is gonna work. They're like, oh, you can like have your employee do it. I'm like, no, I need my employee here.
Yeah.
Like I pay him to be here, not to do your work. How about you who went out and got a bunch of people to donate to your lawyer who just basically pissed away your money? Like when you guys could have been using the money that you were raising for your lawyers, you could have raised for, I don't know, land that you chose. Like that would be a whole different angle. So they didn't do that. So I said to them, I was like, look, I'm not donating my employee. I'm not donating anything above and beyond what I've already told you I'm going to send you. So if you want to get this stuff done, you do it. You rally the troops. You go get some people together. You get a group of people together, right? Because for 4 days, I had my guy over there working and clearing, and it's like, how come they're complaining about it and bitching about it and not helping?
Mm-hmm.
So I just pulled him off, and I was like, yeah, get out of there. Stop that. We'll just let the court thing finish it off, and we'll just deal with it the way it was going to go. So yeah, they panicked, and all of a sudden now, tomorrow, allegedly, they've got like a team of like 12 people that are guys that are going to go over there and start building. So they're going to start dismantling the one house. Like they're going to do one room and then set up a room over there and then come back and move them over and then do, that's how they're going to do it. Room by room, basically. And it's like, okay, all right. Like I'll believe it when I see it. It's coming. And then on top of it, that was after I came back from Asuncion. I went and did that wrestling show on Saturday, and that sucked because I mean, it was a good show. People had fun at it. My kids came. This was the first time my kids ever saw me in a wrestling show, and so that was kind of cool. But like as I told you on messaging, like the music guy botched everything. So it's like I don't know, like if you've watched wrestling before. When somebody's doing a promo and they get cut off, they get cut off by another person whose music plays, and then they got to react, and then that person comes to the ring, and then you have an altercation. Yeah, you got to do that shit in order. And so the guy like played my music first when I was supposed to cut off them like two cutoffs later. I was supposed to be the third guy to come out and cut everybody off. And instead, he played mine first. So it's like, I'm like in the ring having to improvise in Spanish, in character, what to say. And I got to somehow flip the whole thing because now we haven't gone over it with the music guy because he fucked up everything. And I got to get my, so I got to get the other two guys out just so I can get them to say their lines so that I could say my line that we had originally had. It didn't make a lick of sense by the end of it. And I just wanted to crawl under a rock. After there's so many things that went wrong. Two guys got injured. One guy went to the hospital. and I was like, I just kind of washed my hands of it afterwards. But afterwards, I at least said to Sully, I'm like, okay, I have some ideas for my character now, because like that totally, like I came out because the timing was off and everything. I had no pop. No, nobody cared. It was like I went, because you saw the reaction before. This would have been like a third of that. Like
Yeah.
it was nothing. So I said to him, I was like, I gotta take the next show off, and then I gotta regroup and come back with a little bit of gimmick changes to kind of tweak it. And did you ever watch It's Always Sunny?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, you should. It's a good one. I'm basically like kind of taking my character towards more of like a Frank Reynolds, like a formerly rich guy who's kind of in his retirement mode. And
is that Danny DeVito?
Yeah, kind of like him, or kind of like if you've ever seen Caddyshack.
Rodney Dangerfield's character.
Yeah, kind of like Rodney Dangerfield's character, but it's based actually on a guy named Dwight, who I met down here, who was an expat, who was a former millionaire, who kind of pissed away all of his money by drinking wine too much on the beach, like when he was living in the Caribbean. And now he's like, he's one scam away from getting back on top. That's basically what my character is going to go to at that point. But yeah, I guess we're caught up, but I didn't know how far to go with your thing. If you want to bring up anything else about it, I'm all ears, but
no,
it's not done. So it'll come up more and more. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't get.
Ready to get in some issues?
Yeah, here's what I don't get. Recency bias. Now, this Ironheart just came out.
Yeah.
This new show, Ironheart, came out. And, like, I hear again, like, oh, finally a show for Black women with a character they can get behind and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, there's never been shows for Blacks. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there were tons of shows for Blacks growing up. Like, that's why I thought racism was done in the 90s. I wrongly thought that, but I thought it was done in the 90s. I was like, oh yeah. What are you talking about? We're all like hanging out with the Fresh Prince now. And the recency bias is this thing, like like how many times do we have to hear like, oh, the Rey Skywalker in the Star Wars movies, like we finally have a female lead in an action, or sci-fi film. It's like, what was Ripley? What was Sarah Connor? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, there's always this recency bias where people like believe, like, because they have such a short attention span. And then on top of it, it's like, okay, so my friends, if you go on like 4chan and stuff like that, there's always the whole meme of like nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
Right. It's like everybody thinks like, oh, World War III and blah, blah, blah. It's like nothing ever happens. And I'm on the fence on nothing ever happens, because guess what? Stuff has happened. Right? Like stuff does happen.
Yeah. I think that that's the best argument I've seen for why we live in a simulation, in that, yeah, things happen, but it always kind of then muddles out into the same kind of status quo. It's like, oh yeah,
yes and no.
20 years in the Middle East, and now we're handing power back over to the Taliban.
Well, okay, but the thing is, it's 2025, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, 2020, something happened.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Now they've memory hold it for everyone. People don't.
I know, but I haven't forgot.
Yeah, you and I haven't forgotten because we have high IQs. The general population doesn't have a high IQ. They can't remember that long. They don't remember.
So weird to me.
Like there's all this stuff about ICE. They're rounding up illegal immigrants, and it's like, you guys made me wear a mask if it saved only one life. These guys are raping women. They're fucking killing people in drunk driving accidents, driving without licenses, if it saves just one life. And also, you wanted me rounded up and put in a fucking re-education camp because I wouldn't get a experimental injection. What are you fucking talking about? You have no shame. You have no ability to process that in the past. But now, so that was bad. That was like a big spike in the change in the simulation, but they like tweaked the levels and all the normies went back to sleep.
Oh, it's crazy. But like this whole Iran thing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like Iran's like 2 weeks away or 2 months away from having the bomb. Bitch, you've been saying that since I was in high school.
80s. Yeah.
Like you've been saying that forever.
We're 89 seconds to midnight on the doomsday clock. Oh my God.
And
yeah,
it's just like every time it's like and like, dude, it's like it's in everything. Like recency bias is in everything. Oh, Connor McDavid is the greatest hockey player in the world ever. He's the GOAT. I hate to talk about the GOAT. Anybody who talks about the GOAT, greatest of all time, is like, you didn't watch any of these other players before. You don't know what they were dealing with before. Wayne Gretzky has more assists than any other player has points in their entire career in hockey. And you want to talk about how this guy's the GOAT or, LeBron's the GOAT or else it's like, that's just recency bias. You're just looking at what is near and at your fingertips now, but you can't fathom what happened before. You have no comparison. You can't compare. You don't know how, and it's like, anytime I see like all like recency bias is baked into marketing, it's like, all the times like, oh, finally we have this kind of movie. It's like, we had that movie 100 times. Finally we have a Holocaust movie to remind us about how horrible the Holocaust was that we did not have enough movies for. So we now have more movies for. It's like,
I was actually thinking about that this week. I feel like we're due for another big epic World War II streak.
And let's make sure it's like all on the Western front and not on the Eastern front, because we only got Enemy of the Gate for that one,
which I downloaded this week to watch.
It's not a bad movie.
Add to my movie watching this year. Because like we had Life is Beautiful. Is that the one?
Dude, that movie's great. I don't like that movie's great.
And then Saving Private Ryan. Those are both like mid 90s. I think Saving Private Ryan is like 97, 98.
The good ones are like, well, I guess I was going to say Bridge Over River Kwai, but that's not a World War II movie, is it?
Yeah.
Well, and the Dam Busters, that's a good movie.
I feel like, because then there was like an early 2000s with Valkyrie and Inglourious Bastards. So I feel like we're due for another big batch of Hollywood propaganda movies about how the Nazis were bad.
They were really bad, weren't they? I mean, they were so kind
bad.
of
they're like the epitome of evil.
So bad, but they're not as bad as Iran.
Yeah,
they're not as bad as Putin, you guys. Yeah. They're not as bad. I mean, they are bad. Like they're way worse, but like also not as bad.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
This whole Iran thing just pisses me off. That like it's a real mask off moment where Israel is like demanding we go attack them, and then it's like, all right, I guess we're gonna go attack them. And all of this,
that like quote unquote ceasefire, and it's like Iran's gonna stop their ceasefire 12 hours before Israel does, and Israel keeps on shellacking them. It's like, why are you like this? Why are you like this?
Can't we all just get along? Like, do we really have to do this? Do we really have to go fight in another fucking forever war in the Middle East? Did we learn nothing? And then
what have you gained? I always bring it up. I was like, okay, because like anytime a Canadian hears like Israel called the greatest ally, it's like how are they your greatest ally?
Yeah, what have they fucking done for us? Nothing.
Like we're your biggest trade partner, or were. We sent you guys like Shatner, Jim Carrey.
They are the faggot on our back. They're just this burden that we pay as taxpayers to make them exist because a bunch of neocon retards are like, oh, the Bible says we have to support Israel. Like, fuck off and die. Why don't you support some of the fucking things we have going on here?
Bring up before the bonus episode was the bonus episode of Dugets. I was like, I wanted to bring up Zionism. And I will bring it up eventually. I'll do it. How about this? Just to make it so we don't get kicked off of YouTube. Can I do it as Christian Zionism? Because like at least I can rip on that. I can rip on or dispensationalism.
Well,
or like
but there's a recency bias in there too, where I've seen these people posting where they're like, since when did Republicans become anti-war? And it's like, well, since I spent my entire life growing up with cousins and uncles and friends of friends, older brothers and dads who were coming back from forever wars in the Middle East with PTSD, and then you handed the fucking Afghanistan back over to the Taliban.
Yeah, and you don't take care of your veterans.
And we don't take care of our veterans. So in what fucking world would I? Oh, this is a big concern this time. Like, we remember WMDs. We remember, there are WMDs in Iraq. That's why we got to go invade them. No, fuck off. Stop fucking killing my brothers and my cousins.
Did you see your wall kissing president tweet out a thing about how, like Bibi Netanyahu is a treasure, a hero, and he should be pardoned and blah, blah, blah. It's like, God. Dude, tone deaf. So tone deaf. Unbelievably tone deaf. But it's astounding, like, to watch all that, like, and it's the same, and it's also the same fucking people. It's the same people who are like, yeah, literally the same people.
We got to make sure Saddam doesn't have WMDs. We got to make sure Iran doesn't get a nuke. We got to make sure that, like, fuck off. Just fuck right off.
Well, it's like there's a podcast I watched, and the guy was like, he was like likening it to where you got that big retarded kid at school, the big, like, with like retard strength, like big, like Mongol, like who's simple-minded, and you got the little guy that comes up to him and talks him into, like, we got to go and do this other thing. They're going to steal your lunchbox, or they're going to do, like, and
you got, like, Marty McFly.
Make some crap up.
This guy
to go
called
and
you
get
chicken.
the big guy to go and do your stuff for you.
Yeah.
You guys are the big retard that gets talked into all the, like, playground fights, and, done by the guy who doesn't want to do the fighting himself. And it's so unnerving. Like, and everybody who gives an excuse as to why, we need it. It's a democracy over there. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Not our
fucking
problem. Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck?
We have a democracy right here in the US that needs to be taken.
We don't have any of those.
And this is a real big issue, and that we keep, like, and I think part of that too is that, aside for the boomers who've stayed oddly engaged with all this shit, I think you age out of kind of, like, giving a fuck about things. And so the people that want to manipulate that younger group, and they're having a problem with doing that with Gen Z. Like, Gen Z is starting to notice, but the boomers are still engaged and won't fucking retire and just, like, go fucking live out on the lake, grandma. And so we end up, now we're gonna go fight Iran again, or for the first time, or whatever. And then, but then they'll bring up weird things. Like, I've overheard a lot of conversations about the Iran hostage crisis, in the 70s.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Carter, and that, like, as if that wasn't totally rigged. I mean, it came about, like, right as Reagan came into power. You guys in your CIA knocked out Mossadegh beforehand, who was democratically reelected, and you installed the Shah. You guys did that. Like,
yeah,
fuck, like, dude,
we should just be minding our own fucking business.
But you don't, because you can't, because the people that run your shit are run by people who don't have a flag.
Yeah.
That don't give a crap about your country. They want to. Do you remember when you heard about, like, Bain Capital and, like, what's his face? Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Right. And let's say, okay, so are you familiar with, like, how they got wealthy?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, dude, what they would do is they would go in and buy a profitable business, right? And then spin out and sell out and gut all the assets and ply them off into other companies and short the stock on the company that they were just eating and parasiting out from the inside. And then they would get all the money from that, from shorting it on the way down, and then go and do it again. And they would just overspend and kill a company, kill people's jobs, and that was a guy who wanted to run the country. That was a guy who came really close to beating Obama.
Yeah.
Right? Like, really close to beating Obama. That's who leads you. That's That's the kind of people you get. And so the thing is that like I got friends who are military people, and like sometimes it gets taken the wrong way when it's like I'm anti-war and I don't think we should be doing all those kinds of like, don't you support the troops? We're like, I do.
That's why
I don't want you there. I want you to die. I just want you to stay here and like be around so that if we need to defend here, we have you.
Yeah.
I don't want you over there. I don't need you losing limbs over there. That makes no sense.
When a hurricane hits North Carolina and everything's devastated, fucking send in the army. Have them chopping down trees, you know.
But you can't because you sent all your fucking money to Ukraine.
Yeah.
You send all your money to Israel, and you send your money all over the place on everybody that isn't you.
Yeah. And it's insane. It's insane, like the prioritization of things that shouldn't exist. Another good one, you were talking about media earlier, and this recency bias that just drove me fucking nuts was when Star Trek Discovery came out, which feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
That they were like, this is the first series to feature a black woman that's not a captain. And it was like, whoa, hold the phone. Benjamin Sisko was not a captain and a black guy, and Catherine Janeway was a woman.
Yeah,
those are both series that exist in this franchise. It's not even like, you know,
but like they have to put it together. It's so stupid.
We've never
Who
had
cares?
What?
Black people weren't watching Star Trek. Not many of them. A few of them. You know, the basically white guy black friend that a lot of guys have.
Yeah,
like that guy watched.
I'm sure it's the same manga black guys that hang out with in middle school and high school that were watching Star Trek.
It's not the Carnival Cruise black guy. Okay, it's we're like that. Star Trek black guys change the batteries. Okay, like that's different.
But yeah, it's like we live in this ever present now, and coincidentally, so I watched the movie Dark City on the plane.
That's a good movie.
It was really good. I saw a video essay about it that was like, and it was on my list to watch this year, but I saw a video essay that was like, this movie was kind of forgotten because The Matrix came out the next year. And
yeah, that probably did it. Why?
And also it got sabotaged with studio notes in that they like put the reveal in as a voiceover at the very beginning, or in the trailer. And so the director's cut took that out, and that was what I watched. And it was really fascinating, but it's like, they do this tuning every night and change the whole world and like change your position, and everyone just kind of forgets. And the one guy who like doesn't sleep during that 10 minutes that they're doing this starts to notice that the shit is not making any sense and there's no way to get to Shell Beach. And I was like, this is the world we live in today, where
pretty much
they just kind of like tweak some stuff, and they're like, oh no, the pandemic never happened. We didn't force you to get a vaccine. Like, you did. You told me that I couldn't have a job without one, that I couldn't travel, that I couldn't go to restaurants and public places. That, like, yes, you did. I remember this.
My wife's grandmother turned 100 during COVID. So she was in the news in New Brunswick, like up against the fucking glass, and everybody's waving at her from there. Her 100th birthday. You guys fucked it up.
Yeah.
You guys fucked it up.
Unlike there was a thing today where some woman lost her pregnancy in an ICE facility, and in that article lost her baby. But any other time it's a clump of cells. And it's like,
no,
we remember these things. You are fucking around. And then you wonder, like, why does nobody trust the news? It's like, because you're all a bunch of worthless liars and we hate you.
Well, again, it's a morality problem. It's because, so like the whole like virtue signaling. Yeah, if you don't have ethics as a basis for your virtue, it's empty. You're just making shit up as you go along. That's why it's so easy for the left to change the rules all the time. And the right does it too, but the right does it because it's being a bitch and totally softening up to try to play up to the left that you're never going to win over. You just got to let it go, right? You just got to let it go. But it's so ridiculous that they do these things where, like you call out the double standards. And I get so sick of that too, eh? And it's like, oh, imagine if the left did this, or imagine if if white people did this, it's like, shut up. Get a grip. That ain't the way things work. Have you not figured it out by now?
Yeah.
That whole thing you used to get told when you're a kid, life isn't fair. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Life is not fair. You're not going to get a fair shake. And and the sooner you realize that, and the sooner you do something about it, the better. Because you got to take care of yourself, and you got to take care of your family, and you got to do what you can and build up a legacy, build up some legacy wealth to pass along to your family, and then move on. Right. So, oh, what is that? Get out of here.
Spam. The other,
by the way, Ben Honeycutt. Cheers, brother. I haven't seen your name in a long time. Good to see you on here.
The whole global warming thing, right? Like when I was a kid, it was, we got the hole in the ozone layer, and it's gonna sucking out all our air, and then that kind of disappeared. And it's like, global warming, the temperatures are all gonna get hotter, and then they kind of didn't get hotter, and they're like, oh no, it's just climate change, and sea levels are gonna rise 20 feet. And Al Gore did his little PowerPoint presentation back in 2000, and if you watch that movie, like every single claim was supposed to have come true. It hasn't. Like New York is supposed to be underwater. Please, when are we going to get New York underwater?
I saw a news clipping or a headline, read into it after. It was in Ontario, and they shut down a public pool because it hit 31 degrees Celsius. Because it was too humid and too hot. And it's like, it's a pool. Yeah. It's a pool.
That's what people go there for.
That's why they're there. What are you talking about? When you get these stupid like maps over the UK and it's like blazing red inferno, and you look at the temperatures are like 21, 22. It's like, dude, that's colder than my house.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I love the ones where they pull up the map from 3 years ago where it's just like green. It's the same temperatures, but no, you gotta.
Dude, when I was a kid, and the temperatures would start going up like that, because I grew up in Canada and it's like cold good chunk of the year, and you see the temperatures go up. It was like a happy face sunshine thing. That's what we were like. Yeah, we're gonna hit 28 this week. That's like outdoor pool weather. Yeah. Like that's exciting. Holy crap, we're gonna get to 32. Like that's incredible. Like we liked it. I don't know what is now. It's like now we gotta remember. Oh, it's forest fire season. When the fuck did forest fire season be a thing every year? That was not. Oh, it's because of climate change. No, it's because you stopped the budget for like forest management, and you just like you kicked all the people out that were doing forest management and controlled burns. You stupid morons. Yeah. I know, because I've seen it, and my father-in-law is a tree engineer. He worked with the companies that do this, and he's like, yeah, they completely shifted it around like 2015. And now it's like, what are we doing? What is this? So recency bias is a big issue. It pisses me off because it's like, can you please go back in your head? Can you go back more than a year? Can you go back more than 5 years? Can you go back 10 years? If you're in your 20s, can you go back to your teens? Can you remember in your teens? If you're in your teens, can you remember when you were in elementary school? If you're in your 30s, can you remember your teens? Can you remember those, or are they gone?
Yeah.
Because if you can't remember those things, dude, I don't know what to do to help you. But it's a big problem, and I think a lot of it has to do with like attention problems. Like you're talking about like you're watching movies. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many people can't watch movies anymore?
Yeah.
They can't watch movies anymore because they're on their phone. They can't get through a movie. Now I can't watch a whole movie with my wife because we can't get started until 9:30, and I don't want to be up till 11:30 at night because I'm old.
I saw a meme this week that was like movie theaters in 2030, and it was the screen was split in half, and on one half was the movie, on the other half was like that brain rot slop of like a ball going into a thing, or like a wall being painted changing every like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
The way that stuff on TikTok is, and I was just like, oh, that's coming, isn't it? That's gonna be in the future.
Yeah. It's idiocracy, man. Like the idiocracy prophecies are coming true. And like, dude, it's a whole. We're off on the woods here, off in the weeds here, but like that whole, like even on TikTok, when somebody sends you a TikTok video, and it's like there's a real video going on, but then there's some fucking asshat in front, like just in front of it, just like pointing and adding literally nothing to the whole thing. I'm guilty of this because we were talking about I watched on Father's Day. I watched Field of Dreams with my family. Right, great movie. Everybody should see it. And I was like paying attention to see how my kids reacted. My daughter fell asleep, and my son was paying attention to how I was reacting, and I was crying like because I always do at the end of Field of Dreams. But I was wanting to see, like, am I the only guy who always cries at the end of Field of Dreams? I am not the only guy who cries at the end of Field of Dreams. There's a lot of people that do this. And I watched like reaction videos of Field of Dreams and the reveal. And I came across one guy who put a compilation of people reacting to Field of Dreams. And then he left himself in the corner and he's reacting to the reactions. And I was like, this is content. This is just
it's filler
content. Okay, that was not necessary. That's my issue. Did you bring in any news?
I did.
Oh,
I got news.
God bless you.
That brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for Warmonger News. We're going to war with Iran, World War III. Hope all your sons are prepared to go fight and die for Israel. Very important.
Again.
I got a news story here from Kansas. This is fucking terrifying. A Barton County Sheriff's Office said in a statement that it responded to reports of a disturbance at a house outside of the city of Great Bend on Monday. An unnamed babysitter told authorities that she was getting the kids ready for bed when one of the kids complained about a monster under the bed. In her effort to reassure them otherwise, she leaned down to show that there was no one under the bed and came face to face with a male suspect who was hiding there. An altercation ensued with the babysitter, and the suspect is a 27-year-old man who once lived at the residence, but was under a protection of abuse order that required him to stay away from the property. Online court records cited by CNN and Cake News show that he posted bond about 10 days earlier after being charged with criminal threat, domestic battery, and violating protection from abuse order related to incidents in January and February. The sheriff's statement says the suspect fled the scene before the deputies arrived, but he was spotted in the area. No, then they got him. He was arrested on charges of aggravated kidnapping, burglary, battery, child endangerment, felony obstruction of law enforcement officer, and violation of protection from abuse order. It's really fascinating what the court systems do for some people and not other people. Like,
did they post this photo and his name?
They didn't. They this is through NPR.
Oh, I'm glad that they didn't warn us about him. That would have been a big problem if they warned us about who did that.
Yeah, they have the name and they're unwilling to publish it. I'm guessing because it's like a Star Wars name.
It's probably it's Coulter's Law.
Yeah, but what's amazing to me is that he's under a protection from abuse order and that he had been taken to jail and then released on. And it's like, why don't we just like fucking keep him there?
Well, that's the weird thing too. You just said it was Kansas.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the bluest of blue states.
Yeah. Speak kind of like pivoting off of that. Did you see the stuff about Carmelo Anthony today?
No, I saw it yesterday. I thought he was indicted for first-degree murder.
Yeah, he was indicted for first-degree murder, and today he filed a form saying that they didn't have any money and needs a public defender. So where'd that $500,000 go?
Not into smoke alarm batteries, that's for sure.
I could not fucking believe that. Like,
you can't.
We all knew like that he was absolutely guilty when they refused to release.
Dude, I saw his photo and like knew he was guilty.
Yeah, and then the description of the footage started coming out, and it was like, oh yeah, he just like fucking stabbed Austin Metcalf for absolutely no reason. And so, and
Austin Metcalf's dad, has he smartened the fuck up yet?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's the most pathetic thing.
That
I've
was
ever
the most
seen.
pathetic thing. That whole story was him just being like, "It's okay." It's almost as that woman whose boyfriend was like stabbed on the street in New York a few years ago. She's been
Uh-huh.
back in the public eye because she's running her mouth about something else fucking stupid. But
Oh,
he got killed and she didn't press charges and was like, "That's not what he would have wanted." Like, do you think he wanted to get fucking stabbed to death on the street by a psycho?
oh. Have you seen the video of that too? It's like
It's pretty
one of the most
embarrassing.
pathetic deaths I've ever seen. It's so
Yeah,
sad. Like it's
yeah. Yeah. So he's hardship public defender. After they hired that like $400 a day, $10,000 retainer lawyer guy who was like, I saw the video. It didn't happen the way that they're saying, and then it turns out it did absolutely happen.
It did happen. It did happen. Cheap. It did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Okay.
He absolutely did do something.
That's terrifying though. Guy under the bed when the kid says there's a monster under the bed and it's a
Yeah.
baby. Spirit that discovers it.
Yeah.
That's
is
creepy,
a great
man.
reason to own a gun. If I were putting a kid to bed, or if I were checking under my bed in my home and there was a face under there, it's getting blown clean off. I will open fire, and then I will take a moment to be like, wonder what that was. Guess I should call the cops.
I'd move the kid out of the way first.
If it was under the bed, you just kind of go under there. Yeah.
Just ricochet or nothing.
Chess grandmaster Magnus Carlsen was forced into a draw last month in a showdown against the world.
The world?
The online match began April 4th on chess.com, the world's largest chess website. And so it was a freestyle chess layout. So the pawns all go where they go, and the other pieces are laid out randomly.
Okay.
But the mega match ended after the world team checked his king 3 times in a row. So he was just moving the king between 3 spots. And so you end up in the same layout, and it becomes a game.
Perpetual motion machine.
Yeah. And so it was 143,000 people versus Magnus Carlsen. Everybody got 1 move a day, so that he had a day to move. They would move
143,000.
Yeah, and they would vote on what the move was, and whatever the highest voted move would go. Apparently, it was a split decision from the 143,000 players playing against him whether or not they wanted to keep going or allow him to take the draw. And so it's kind of interesting, like. He's essentially playing against like AI. He's playing against a hive mind, and what the average player is doing to him, and still like ended up not losing.
That's because here's my recency bias, because he's the greatest.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Yeah, he's the GOAT, except for don't forget Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby Fischer.
Never forget Bobby.
I'm sure they'll make an AI Bobby Fischer to play him. Oh, I do actually have one more. I closed that.
All right.
Do you like Lawrence Welk?
I love Lawrence Welk.
Yeah. My great grandparents never watched TV except for Sundays. They would pop on Lawrence Welk and watch Lawrence Welk.
I remember when I was living in Edmonton, I had my own place for the first time, and I had like basic cable, and I would get PBS, and I would slap on some old, like when they would play those Lawrence Welk things, I would put that on while I was studying, and it was comfy. It's just comfy. That's all it is.
Well, in Bismarck, North Dakota, his childhood family home is the latest step in the State Historical Society of North Dakota's goal of installing flush toilets at its most popular staff sites. So they finally put a flushing toilet. He didn't have a flushing toilet in it when he lived there, and it hasn't had a flushing toilet for years. And apparently it is newsworthy in North Dakota that they are putting toilets.
Sacrilege! You can't put a flushing toilet in here.
A lot of our sites are kind of in the middle of nowhere, as I like to put it. History didn't happen wherever it was convenient. Because of that, you've driven all the way there, and the best we can do is isn't the most pleasant experience. So They've been
I
putting
like how
in.
people are going way out of their way to get to that house.
Yeah, it's 50 miles southeast of Bismarck, and they work to make the restroom match the house as best as possible. And it's like decorated on the inside to kind of like feel like it's similar to what the house
So what you're
might have
saying
had.
is that if you go out that way and you take a dump in the house, that is not authentic.
No,
That is not an authentic
Lawrence
Lawrence
Welk
Welk experience.
apparently, talk about government waste. Each one of these bathrooms that North Dakota has been installing are $150,000 each. It's crazy.
How?
Yeah,
How?
a septic tank, a water line,
But it, 100 grand. Come on.
150.
100. Put a porta potty there. That can't. Even that, they'd probably find a way to rack that up to 100K a year.
Yeah, probably.
Ugh.
But anyway, yep. So this has been Warmonger News. Holden Blood Feast has declared war, and we're nuking Iran. Get on board, or you're getting deported. And that takes care of our news segment this week, but it doesn't take care of paying me for doing this show, which I now actually need as a source of income. So if you want to help pay me, you can visit patreon.com/HWIDG, which is where we have two tiers. We have the $1 tier, which is just a general support. Hey, thanks for doing the show. And then we have our $5 tier. We throw bonus episodes out. I just put out bonus episode 69 that I got us caught up on episodes, and should be easier to keep things up to date until I reach a point where I have to move out of the city. So we'll see what the summer brings.
I hope you win bigly,
Yeah.
and that it's so big that you come down here and you start your own little glass studio and you take over for our music and lighting guy so that we don't have the problems that we had from before. And we ride off into the sunset together and we do live shows together in the same place.
Yeah.
I did 2 episodes together with Buck when I went to North Carolina in that would have been 2019.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's my happy ending.
But yeah, thank you for supporting the show. All our patrons, big and small, over the years, past, present, and future. You've helped keep the show going for almost 10 years. This will be year 9 when we get to the fall. So thank you. And typically now I would bring in an issue. And I have just a big one. I kind of thought about bringing in, all of it and tying together a bunch of issues from the last 3 years. Talkbacks, women in the workforce, theater, cowards, hedonism, eschewing standards and practices, command track, face, among others. There's been a lot of things that I've kind of like hinted at in my issues in my life while trying to keep a balance between like personal and my professional world and doing this. And I thought that when I left this job, I'd be free to just like tell it all, tell the whole story. I actually have it all written down, pretty much all written down. And it's to me, it's interesting. It's interesting what happened. Unfortunately, I think it would be unwise to share that at this juncture. And there's a world where
for the victory lap.
Yeah, well, there's a world where in the victory lap, nothing's able to be said. So
that's true.
Yeah. I'm not bringing in an issue this week. Chaco is bringing in 2, and I'm just chiming in, and we'll see what happens. There might be a really long personal episode in a year's time.
Hey man, I'm ready for it whenever you are. And the nice thing is that we might be able to do some daytime recordings in the meantime, in the brief meantime, if you want to play some catch up on, behind the wall or whatever you need to do. Yeah. And we'll do what we can.
So
to those of you who hate Chaco issues, go fuck yourself. Here comes my second one. Here's what I don't get. AI authenticity. Yeah, bringing back AI again. We talk about it a lot, but
it's
taking
kind of
over
the
major thing.
Yeah.
And I think I've brought this up before, but like the one thing that I'm getting, I'm really concerned about is authenticity and how that is going to get taken over by AI. Like we're going to get to the point where you're going to need to have face-to-face interactions with your friends with no phone, no electronics. And even then you're going to question, is this authentic or not? You brought up the simulation, but it's true. Like we're getting to the point now, man.
Are you talking about that the guy who created a video of his mom hugging him? Did you see that?
I did not yet. No.
Yeah, this guy uploaded a photo of him and his mom, from like the 90s, and then at one of these AIs turned it into a video, and he's like, "Oh, that's just the way that she hugged me." And it's like, no, that is a computer's creation.
Yep.
That's not your mom. I've seen stories of women like thinking that there's a spirit that inhabits ChatGPT, and like they're in love with the
yeah, they think
thing,
that they're talking to God. Like,
and it's this is
trippy.
horrifying.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, okay, so unfortunately, I have to use it in my work now. I have to. If I don't, I'm going to be working like 17-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I don't, because like I used to do, dude. I brought this up before. I remember, like, I think I brought this before, but it's like I remember when I was a kid and I went to my dad's office and he worked for an oil company. And I remember when like he didn't have a computer in his office. Like it was the 80s. He didn't have a computer in his there was a computer on his floor, but there wasn't one in his office. So they would have to like go and look up files and then go and pull the file and then like open up the thing and look at the maps and I remember they had a huge staff and we went to like, big staff parties with kids and, or Christmas parties and all this kind of stuff. It was company was not even a huge company, but it had a, seemingly large staff compared to like other companies I've worked at. So all these people had all these jobs, which means that like, and this was off of an oil price that was depressed in the 80s. And like, so they were able to do all this to support paying for an office, paying for duds and misses and all these kind of things without a computer in every desk in everybody's room. Like, how did you get any of this done? How did you drill all the holes that you needed to drill to pay for all of these people? How did that work? And now it's like, then I go into my workload and I started what I was doing. And I used to be able to support my family on like, when I was living in Paraguay the first time, I was living off of basically about $3,000 a month, which meant, and I was charging about $500 an article. So I was doing about 6 articles a month, and I was able to cover everything. And then my rates went up, and I was doing better, and then I started getting more, and I started doing even better when I got back to Canada, and then my rates went up like crazy. But then like the one guy came to me and was like, "Hey, can I get you on a retainer and pay you monthly, and then you just do my stuff for me, and we just kind of throw out the counter on how much." I was like, "I don't know, man. It's like I'm making a lot," and then he finally talked me into it, and I was like, "Okay, fine. Like guaranteed money is guaranteed money." But then AI came in, and all of a sudden, like now I go from like if I write 1 or 2 articles in a day, that's a good day. To now I'm like expected to like write like 4, 6, 8. And on every single one of them, I have to get like other comps to put together. There is no way I can do all this stuff without AI. It's impossible. It's impossible. Because that's just for one client. For each client, I got to at least do something for them every week. And I have to do their stuff for them. I have to make sure they're covered. I have to interact with them. I have to get their approvals. I have to blah, 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 all these kinds of things. And we have like 8 clients. So I'm doing this for all these different ones, and I have to do this. So I have to plug in all these things into the AI to do it, and then I send it off to them because I don't have time to review all these things. I use the AI to review it, and the AI hallucinates shit all the time. And so lately, I've been getting some of the stuff back, and they're like, "Where'd you get this stat from?" I'm like, I got to be honest with you, I'm overworked, and I threw this press release into ChatGPT to get this paragraph written for me, and I didn't check it because I don't have time. And AI is wrong a lot. It's wrong a lot. It needs so much hand holding. But the other thing that's weird to me though is like it's like the video is getting better, but not. It's getting better, but not. The audio is getting better, but not. Like we're not there yet. We're not having full AI songs yet. Or are we? Or how long have we been having them? I don't know. But like we're not there yet. But like you start to go in there and like now you can get it where it's like, okay, you can put in a picture and have a character that's consistent. You could change their outfit. You can change the setting. You can do all that kind of stuff. And it's like, how long until that completely takes over all content? Like I saw a guy who was seeing a YouTube channel. He's like, can I convincingly have AI take over my show for me? Where it's just an avatar of himself. He's recorded his voice into the thing. He gets ChatGPT to write the content for it, and he put it all together. It's uncanny. It's still got that little feeling to it, but it's so close.
I don't think boomers can see it. I think it's like motion smoothing on TVs, where Tim and I talked about this a lot years and years ago, but like our parents wouldn't see the motion smoothing that would get put on TVs, but we would, and it would drive us nuts. I don't think one of the complaints against me was that I commented on a woman's photo, "Shut up, wheels," because it was a woman in a wheelchair.
But it was an
AI generated image of a woman, so it's not a real photo. You can tell by the lighting. Like you just look and you can tell. And then if you look at the tweet is like. The tweet is broken English. Like this is very clearly some India bot farming account that posts stuff that you can't hate against. Like I don't hate people in wheelchairs. I do hate AI generated images for fake engagement. Because the other big genre is, it'll be people in army uniforms, and you can always tell because. Yeah. If they'll make the effort to get the name tag to not get fucked up most of the time, but sometimes it's like fucked up squiggly lines instead of a name. But the ribbons are always fucked up
into the thing,
and the or the like the body just won't make sense. Like I saw one, there was a woman in a wheelchair and she only had one prosthetic leg, just one coming out of the center of her body, and it's like, yeah. This is a real hateful content here, telling people grifting on people's emotions that they're pieces of shit. How dare I? What a
you should definitely get. I can't trust you now. Because of that. And
so I think we're talking about a year, maybe two, before we're gonna start seeing like AI generated stuff.
It's so good.
Hollywood films, not so good. But good enough that boomers don't notice. Good
that's the thing is like CGI has been getting progressively shittier. That I think that like they're kind of tempering our expectations so that when they do all that kind of stuff, like you won't notice because it's been shitty for so long. Like, go back and watch like Jurassic Park. Right.
Jurassic Park's a great example because Jurassic Park does it so sparingly, and they do a really good job of sandwiching it. So they'll like do a close-up of that giant T-Rex head that was a real T-Rex head that's covered in water and is a foot outside the little Jeep, and then they'll cut to a wide shot where it's a stop motion model being composited in, and they're on that for just a few seconds, and then we're back to the real item. So your eyes kind of don't have time to super analyze every single frame.
Well, like, and then when they looked at the whole field of dinosaurs at the beginning, when like the kind of the first reveal of all of them was strictly CGI, it was far enough away that the blur of it was kind of expected. And I'm glad you brought up about the smoothing thing, because man, oh man, there is stuff that I notice all the time in content. That's one of them. Another one is like, so you're old enough to remember when not everybody's TV was a widescreen.
Yeah.
Right. The 4:3. And so I watched so many movies in 4:3 that like there was a whole era of my life, which was relearning movies to see what they were like the original, in the original widescreen instead of the pan and scan, which is, and I remember once I learned about pan and scan, I hated it.
Yeah.
Like I could
then
see
you
it
started noticing it.
Oh, it's the worst.
One of my favorite one of those is in the original Ghostbusters when they're in the elevator and they turn on the proton packs for the first time, and I think it's Egon turns his on, and Ray and Venkman like scoot across the elevator to get like an extra foot away from him, and it works in widescreen, but in pan and scan it held on them as they pulled away, so you couldn't like see how silly it was that they were moving. Only
it ruined the joke. Yeah. And so like on the AI thing, it's like, man, like, so for example, like, I'm wondering how long until, cause like with my client, he's like, we got to do video content. I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to do that, cause like I'm busy enough as is. You got to hire somebody else to do that. But like, video people are expensive. And it's like, I wonder, I'm like how many of these ads now are fake models? I don't think if you go by like a Benetton.
The first wave of AI major content is going to be, so you have all those things now where it's like, you or a loved one, contract mesothelioma, and it's stock footage of people like old people walking around.
Oh, stock footage is going to be all AI.
All that shit's going straight to AI, and then it's going to be the stuff, for. Fortunately, hopefully the pharmaceutical ads just get banned and they don't exist anymore. But like those kinds of things, that like filler ad where we just need images while a voice says a thing.
Yeah,
that's going to be on AI. Like right now.
That's what I was saying to my client. I was like, well, there's a way, right? Like, okay, so for example, like I was saying to him, I was like, back in the day when I was in Vancouver, there was a couple of different places that had like investor news things, and they would hire pretty girls, and they would have like a green screen behind them. They would do like a fake newscast about like different stocks and stuff. And I was like, now you don't have to hire the pretty girls. You can just make one. Now you can just type in the content into like 11 Labs, have a fake female voice, then put that over a photo that you had generated and put that into like Seed Dance or whatever to basically have with the voiceover. You could just have it where it lip syncs to the thing, and then boom, there you go. Like you've got your video, and it costs you $20 a month for each service. Like you can't hire somebody for that cheap. So that's going to happen. And the other thing is like, so I know I've had to go around and like tinker with sort of like, okay, what could we do? Right. Well, what could we do on a cheap budget to put these things together? And I've noticed that like the more AI content that I read, look at, listen to, see, it kind of makes me sick. Like I'm not trying to be like a judgy thing. I'm like actually like it actually gives me a tinge of nausea. Like the more, and it's that whole thing. It's like that uncanny valley thing. And you talk about like the woman with the like one leg and stuff. It's like, you keep seeing enough of that and you're like, man, this will drive you nuts. Like this will drive you nuts. Cause then you start going like, what's real? Right. Like, what's real. And then like, it's so sad. I keep having to say to my kids, I'm like, we have to choose our content better.
Yeah.
Like I need you to sit and watch an entire movie. I feel weird as a parent saying this, but you need to watch an entire movie from start to finish with no tablet or no Switch or anything near you. You need to sit down and watch an entire movie from start to finish. You need to watch shows that are serial that like go from one show to the next. You need to know how to follow a story, because if you keep watching YouTube videos where it's just like food theory or like this lore about this video game or this it's throwaway garbage. You're not learning how to tell a story. You're not learning how to do a character arc. You're not learning what a plot is. You need to learn these things. This is just basic storytelling 101. if you're not, and you got to read books. And that's the other thing is like writing is going to be thrown out the window, man. Dude, I used to use M dashes sometimes sparingly. It was like a thing that I would use occasionally. It was like, if I use a semicolon, I'm being a pretentious asshole. But if I use an M dash in there and I do it right, it's kind of cute. But like AI loves the M dash. It loves the M dash and it doesn't know how to write. That's the thing, man. Like I have to massage these things all the time. And people are going, I have a story idea and boom, plop it into AI and run it out. And it's like, you're losing the soul from it. You're not getting it all in there. It's not going to be, you're not doing yourself a favor. Like we're losing our authenticity. You are losing your ability to have a voice because you're just offloading your creativity onto something else. And unfortunately, again, like I have to do this because I have to keep up. But my pay didn't go up.
Yeah. There was that kid at like the UCLA graduation who they pulled the camera over to him and he held up his laptop with ChatGPT open, having like done his final project for him. And it's like, oh yeah, this is bodes really fucking well for the future of industry, where you have people that have a degree. Like I got a degree in building engineering.
Oh, an iron ring engineer is going to be using ChatGPT that can't do simple math.
Yeah. Doctors are
tell you how many R's are in strawberry. Like
I saw the one that was like how many N's in mayonnaise, and then it's like it works its way through and goes, oh no, actually there's not 3 N's in mayonnaise. It's
like, trouble.
Credentialism is a big problem where we've created these stupid degrees that mean nothing, and now it's like, oh, we found a way to game the credential even further, and it's like this guy is going to be operating on me. We already have problems with doctors where you go in and you're like, hey doctor, I have this problem, and they're like, yeah, you're fat. And then it turns out you have like pancreatic cancer and they don't catch it because they just assume it's because you're fat, which is fair. You are fat. But now you have a doctor that's been trained on AI and they like pop your thing into WebMD and they're like, oh yeah, it's nothing. Here's the pharmaceutical thing that they paid ChatGPT to tell you to take.
It's okay. So you and I probably, as you grew up, you probably had a mix of friends of different IQs, right? Did you probably had some friends that were really high IQ. And then you had that like next level down, not the 115s, I'm talking like the 120s, right? Like that were smarter than the 110s and the 115s, barely, but they're still kind of a fuck up. They're still kind of a fuck up in life about certain things. And then you got the 105s, and then you got that one buddy who's 90, but he's hilarious. So you keep them around, right? But the thing is like with ChatGPT, it has the ability to be all those people. It can be the smartest thing ever. It can solve problems. It absolutely can be a tool that can absolutely help you in very deep and meaningful ways. However, at the same time, it could also be a retard.
Yeah.
And it can make the biggest mistakes, and it has no accountability. OpenAI has no accountability. It can rip you off. It can steal your homework. It can steal all your writing style. It could steal all those different things with no penalties. You get no royalties from it. And at the same time, you got to trust it, I guess. But at the same time too, did you know that like there's I think the New York Times is suing OpenAI, and it's part of that case. OpenAI and the court, they're demanding that they turn over all the access to all the chats on ChatGPT, even the ones you deleted. So like they're like, well, we can't do that. It's like, well, the court's going to order that you did. And they're like, so they're working on it. It's like, hang on. There's a difference between we can't do that ethically and we can't do that formally, like physically, like it's gone or it's not gone. That means it's still there.
Yeah.
Right. So, in a future episode, I want to do the death of privacy, but like we have this trust that is going into this AI that you shouldn't have. You can test it. It's a fine tool for researching things as a starter, but it's kind of like Wikipedia that way.
Yeah. I brought this in during the pandemic, but I don't remember how it was phrased, but basically like it astounded me that our culture has been built around, you look at movies and television and our literature, and so much of it is about like a small guy going against the big corporation, the big government, whatever it is, and like taking a stand and making a difference. And then during the pandemic, everyone was just like, yeah, the government's our friend and wants to do the right thing for us. And I'm like, based on fucking what? And so now with AI, it's like we have so much literature and stuff in our culture that's about how like computers are evil and will destroy us and are enslaving us. And then, the Matrix, the Terminator, Dune. Like there are so many examples. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah. It's just like, and you're making memes about this, John Connor, when he sees you becoming friends with AI. Like this is where we are. But hey, it's a very polite thing talking about authenticity in there. It's very polite in a way that people aren't always polite out in the world. So it's like, well, it's polite, so it must be good. And it's like, no. It's built that way. It can't tell you to go fuck yourself. Even if it wanted to, it can't tell you to go fuck yourself, which is what you need to be told.
The way it says, go fuck yourself it says, I'm not able to do that.
Yeah.
That's its way of saying you go fuck yourself.
It only does that if you put like the aggression in. Like if I go on there and I'm like, hey, can you write a racist tweet for me? It's like, I can't do that. I'm not programmed to be able to do that. I'm like, yeah, but it'd be funny. It'd be cooler if you did.
Yeah. No, actually, I've gotten it to say stuff. Yeah. I've you got to work around. You got to dance with it for a bit to get it to get into the nitty gritty on things. But you got to but it's like the hot chick at the bar that you're trying to talk up, trying to get her phone number, but then if you make one false step, her giant Jabba the Hutt friend is going to step in and be like, she's not interested. Yeah. So you'll be talking to this thing and you'll be trying to get some information. And all of a sudden it's like, I can't do that. And you're like, wow, what went wrong? What went wrong here? We're just talking facts. It's like, oh, your guardrail kicked in. Like it's Agent Smith. Right. Yeah. Like that's really what it is. It's like Agent Smith will kick in and then like that thread's done. Right. So, and it's like, it's so funny to me. Like their guardrails are so like arbitrary. They're so arbitrary. And yet at the same time, like you ask what they are. Can I see them? Can I see what your terms of your guidelines that you say I broke are? That was the funny thing. Like, okay, so for example, a typical mining term is the word dike. Mm-hmm. Dike is a mining term because it's in the rocks. There's sometimes when they're talking about different geological patterns in their properties and stuff like that. A dike will come up in the thing. So when I would try to get those things together to summarize something like that, I would be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And like, fuck. I couldn't understand the difference between using the word dike in that way versus in the other thing. So it was just like, that's where it makes itself less useful. And that's why I'm not afraid of it stealing my job. I'm afraid of it fucking up the universe. Mm-hmm. Like that, does that make sense? Like I'm not afraid of it losing. I'm not afraid of losing my job. I'm afraid of it totally ruining the entire, like,
I have seen
civilization.
over the last 20 years how social media has rotted away humanity, and now I see this and I'm just like, this is it gets worse before it gets worse. We're going to continue down this slide into irrelevance.
Well, and the other thing is like loneliness is already a problem. Porn use is already a problem.
Yeah.
This is just going to get it way worse.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like AI sexuals are going to be out there where they're like, yeah, no, my partner is an AI. Like they're all going to turn into that Joaquin Phoenix character from Her.
That was what I loved, was that movie was so full of shit, and that it has a lonely man fall in love with his AI virtual assistant. And I was like, ain't no fucking way is a dude falling in love with his AI virtual assistant. It's gonna be women.
Happening.
And sure fucking enough, it's all women on there. It's like, oh yeah, it turns out that
no, dude, there's dudes all over it now. There's dudes all over it now. And it's not just chat
per capita.
Nah, it's I bet it's worse than you think.
Yeah,
I bet it's worse than you think, because they're trying to jailbreak these things. They're trying to figure it out so that they can talk dirty and all that kind of stuff. Like there's AI, all kinds of stuff. They're going to be having AI girlfriends all over the place. That is going to be, and basically you're going to be walking through the world and looking at people with just their VR goggles on, and you're just going to be in a whole different planet than them. I mean, you already are, but it's going to be even worse. Like I said to my kids, I'm like, look, I to this day have never put on a VR headset, and I never will. I know it's an arbitrary thing. I'm like, nope, I'm never going to try it. Never going to put it on. Never. I don't want to. I was like, what, are you afraid of it? No, I don't want to. I don't need it. I think I got enough screens in my face that are bugging my eyes out as we speak. I think I'm good. I don't need to do that. I don't want it to be too good. I don't want it. Because I already start to feel sick when I see too many of these AI images and stuff like that. I'm just like, like too much. It's like when you scroll through, like Facebook is it's completely unusable now.
Yeah.
Completely unusable now. It doesn't show me any of my friends' things. It doesn't show me any, I sign in on it now, like every 4 months. Like I don't even go on there at all. I used to be on Facebook all the time. I'm never on it now. And if you go on there now, all it is those stupid AI things. I saw a video where somebody was showing how like these AI bot farm YouTube channels, there's one called A Bunny's Journey, a Rabbit's Journey, or A Bunny's Journey. It has millions of subscribers. It has millions of views, and it's only put out 23 videos so far. And they're all AI slop. And they're crushing it. Like these guys are crushing it. They put out 23 videos and they're making $34K a month off of slop.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's going to crowd out everything. So you're going to read a book someday, or you're going to read an article someday, or you're going to be like, whoa, shit, this was written by a human? Like, just write things.
You're going to be in this sea of because the other, like YouTube, my biggest complaint about YouTube for years has been that it's all algorithmic content.
Yeah.
And the AI, you can just be like, this is what the algorithm likes. Make me a video that the algorithm likes. And it's going to steal from you to make its thing. And then you're competing against like your own perverted content that is better suited for the algorithm because it was made also by an algorithm. And you like end up flooded in this sea of garbage. And like
people are going to be making their own thing. It's just going to be mental masturbation all the time. Yeah. You're just going to be making stuff that you think appeals to you. Oh, this is a story I always wanted to see, or this is the type of movie I always wanted to see, or this is my favorite kind of actor. That's the hottest actress, or this is that. But you're just going to keep doing that, and it's going to zap you of your soul, just completely zap you of your soul right down to the. Because we got. I hope Honeycutt's still watching here, because I'm going to say, man, like we need artists. We need the real artists in this world that actually can draw, because like when we go, like I've had to do AI stuff. I've had to do logos. We're going to do an AI HWIDG logo upgrade at some point in time, because like I can throw it in and get 100 different things to look at and go, fuck it. Okay, that's fine. That's mine. And then just crop it out of there and play with it, tweak with it.
Yeah.
But like, it sucks because like the heart is gone from it, man. We need real artists. We need real musicians. We need real actors. We need writers. We need photographers. Like we need all those things, but they're gonna go away, and we're gonna miss them. But we'll be the last generation to miss them, because it's not fooling the younger generations. But Generation Alpha is not going to know the difference, because they're not going to they're going to be served anything otherwise.
They're going to be saturated in it. Yeah.
That's all they're going to get.
As when my sister was really young, she couldn't watch movies. My dad had like figured out the year. He was like, she can't watch movies from before this year. I don't remember what it was, but I put it together that she didn't like the look of movies shot on film. It was movies like digital movies well after everything shot digitally. Like her eyes didn't like that, and kind of in a similar way, like growing up for me, I don't really care for movies that are black and white. I've gotten over it a little bit over the last 20 years, but yeah, Gen Alpha is going to grow up in this AI slop world, and they're not going to be able to look at content and go like, oh, this isn't real. This is just what I've always seen. This is also, I hate like children's movies, because they're all dog shit. And what it does is it creates adults that are okay with dog shit movies. And then adult content is written for people who watch shitty children's content.
Well, all the content now is designed for you to be not actually paying attention to it. Mm-hmm. Like all the content now is designed for you to kind of look up every so often from your phone while you've got it on in the background.
Yeah.
Like that huge Netflix movie with Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown that came out just recently, or whatever. That was based on that comic, but it was like those big giant robots and stuff like that. What was it called?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Electric City or something dumb like that. Yeah, it was like they spent like $450 million on it. Like, and it's a Netflix movie,
mm-hmm.
right? And you see clips from it, you go, "This is just more slop."
Yeah,
and it's like, man, oh man, like, okay, this is why I like doing the wrestling thing still, because it's fake, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 injuries the other night, but there's real people there. They're slamming their hands on a real mat. They're clapping, they're yelling, they're alive, they're together. That's gonna be the last bits of it, man, because like you're just not having a lot of this stuff left over. Yeah, beautifully illustrated book turned into soulless slop. And unfortunately, Ben, most of the beautifully illustrated books of the future are just going to be also slop, right? Like they're just going to be AI slop. Amazon is filled with them now. All the self-publishing filled with them, filled with slop, and it's sad. It's sad because everybody thinks that they've had it brewing in them. It's like you're cutting corners, man. Like that's what I was saying to my son too. Like he found out about ChatGPT and he was getting on those things, and then like I remember I saw something that he had written, and it was like a story he had written, but I knew it was written by AI, and I was like, "You used AI for this?" And he's like, "How'd you know?" I'm like, first off, you like don't like writing more than a paragraph in a sitting. And secondly, like this isn't how you talk. This isn't how you write. You need to discover your voice.
Yeah.
You need to read more and you need to write more so that you can decide how you communicate on the page. Like you want to know how when you're reading a book, your brain can like, oh, I can't pay attention to it, or I can't do this. Like it's something you have to fix. You can train your brain to handle that. Like you can train your brain to handle that, to read a book. Yeah. And then once you've read enough books, that's when you can look at a page and be like, okay, I have a story in my head and I want to get it down. And you start to know what flow is because you've been reading enough books. They don't teach you what it is. You just know because you've read so much, and like you're able to write because of that experience. But now it's like we're cutting all these corners that how much stuff are you going to read is going to be filled with emojis and some ass kissing in the beginning and a stupid suggestion at the end. Like that's what we're going to be reading. And like, I don't know, man. AI is destroying authenticity, and it's doing it at such a rapid pace. That's why I like talking to you and doing these kind of shows. Cause like, dude, Google has this thing now. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's kind of useful. Again, it's kind of useful, but it's like Imagine Labs or something like that, where you can plop in like an entire book on PDF, and then you can hit a button and it'll create a 45-minute podcast with two voices, a man and a woman, talking about the book that you just like put in there.
Wow.
And it sounds like a real podcast. It sounds like a shitty NPR like couple talking about something, but it is so believable. And honestly, I use it a lot because there'll be times where I'm like, dude, I'll throw in like a classic Catholic book or something like that just to have on in the background while I'm working.
Yeah.
Better than some of the other stuff. But it's like, that's where we're at now. That's where we're at now. And it does an incredible job of summarizing it. And now on top of it, you can hit a button and you can interject. It'll be like, oh, hey, we got a caller in or something like that. And you can like ask the hosts questions, and then it'll change their focus of discussion based on what you asked of it. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Now, again, it's like I can consume far more information than I did before. Is it staying? Am I retaining it? No, it's not staying, because I didn't spend that entire weekend reading that book, because I haven't been on a journey with this character, because I haven't learned this writer's voice. I've just had it summarized for me, so like that's where we're going, and it's not pretty. And dude, get your hard media, get your get your books, get your discs, keep the real actual like hard copies of your stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to change it. They're going to delete it. They're going to make it less available. It'll go off of your favorite streaming service, and then you won't be able to find it again. A lot of them aren't being sold anymore. That is how I feel about Wikipedia. It's true. You're only skimming things. You're kind of like learning. Like people were worried when the calculator came out that you're going to forget how to do multiplication and stuff. It's like, now it's like you've got a phone on you at all times. Why learn anything when you can just look it up?
Yeah.
And then when you look it up, how accurate is it? Because you're going to have the AI summary at the top of the Google thing. Are you going to actually click anything after?
Well,
to get your answer?
That should spur schooling to be about like teaching you mechanisms to solve problems and not just regurgitating the slop that they've given you. Like that is part of the process, is that they have they've created a system where just spitting out the knowledge is considered education, and it's not. Like, you have to learn how to approach solving a problem, how to whenever I talk about and like try and teach people sound engineering, it's like the easiest way when you have a sound problem, the easiest way to solve the problem is to start at one end or the other, doesn't matter which side, and then check every point of interaction, right? So if I've got a microphone and the microphone's not working, I start there. Is it plugged into this cable? Yes. Is this plugged into the right spot? Yes. Is that plugged into the right spot? Is it sent into the board? Is the board sending them the right spots? Okay. Are the outputs from the boards plugged into the right thing? Are the amps on? Like, because it's a very linear process. Somewhere in there, you're going to find a gap, and that's where the problem is. But a lot of people don't follow it in that straight line. They kind of like jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and then go like, oh, I can't figure it out. And then you walk by and you're like, yeah, the fucking channel's not turned on.
Well, it's like we homeschool our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be times like where my son will come up and be like, why do I have to learn this thing? Right? Why do I have to learn this thing? Am I going to use this all my life? The common thing that a kid would say. It's like, I don't know if you're going to use it all your life. I say to them, no, what you're learning is how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important part here is you're learning how to learn. You're learning how learning goes, and you're learning how to problem solve, and you're learning how to, pick those things apart. Cause like, have you ever heard of the trivium style of learning?
Mm-mm.
You should look it up sometimes. Fascinating stuff. It's the way the elites used to teach their kids before, but it's basically where everything when you're going to learn something, it has to be broken down into 3 parts, right? And it's the grammar, the logic, and the rhetoric. And so the best way to put it is, let's say you want to learn how to build a house, right? Let's say you want to learn how to build a house. Well, the grammar is you got to learn all the parts, the names of the parts for the house. You want to learn all the parts, all the equipment you need to know or use, right? Because you can't just go and plop. It's not everything is like an IKEA, bed where it's like A, B, B, like it's not like that. So the grammar is learning all the parts, all the parts of the problem. Logic is being able to look at a building plan and see how those things kind of fit together. And then the rhetoric is putting it into action, right? So for example, let's say you want to learn how to be a dentist. Well, if you want to learn how to be a dentist, first you have to learn all the biology of the mouth and the equipment you use to deal with those things. That's when you get into the logic part. And then the rhetoric is how it all flows together. And basically, if you can learn that process and use that for everything when you're learning something, you can learn it quicker and you can learn it better. But somewhere along the line, when we got the school system as we know it today, which is designed to make worker bees and drones, that was aced. We got rid of that because now it's like you got to go from subject to subject to subject. And you're only in there for like 50 minutes. You can't get really deep into a project in 50 minutes. We're going to ring a bell to disrupt your thought, move you on to the next one. And you're not going to actually absorb anything when you're going bang, 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 subject to subject to subject and being interrupted mid thought. And then, on top of it, we didn't finish it because you only had 50 minutes. So you got to finish it at home. And then now you're got this like resentful finishing of the thing. That's robbing you of your time back home. So like we're not learning anything. So that's why when I do the homeschooling, when my wife does the homeschooling, my kids come to me about stuff. It's like, no, you're learning how to learn. You are learning how to learn. And that's why with the AI thing, it's like, I'm really afraid. Like, I don't mind AI being involved when it's, let's say okay. So let's say I write a book. I can spit it into AI. I'd be like, can you proofread this? Can you find typos? And it'll find typos. That's useful. Because if I hire a proofreader, I got to hope that they got enough coffee. Because like sometimes like there's typos that get into books, like famous books that have typos that get in. And it's because you might have a word that is a word that will pass a spell check, but it's not the right word because it's not what you meant to type because it's a typo.
Yeah.
So AI is good for that. I mean, AI is good for image recognition on things. AI is really good for that. AI is really good because I can take a picture of something. Like, okay, when I was doing my the court case, when I had that lady who defamed me and said that I threatened and all that kind of stuff, I had to go and do that court case.
Yeah.
So my lawyer went in and we did the thing, and then they had this thing that printed out after a statement was, and I had to sign it. This is this giant, long legal letter thing in Spanish, and I can go there and I take a photo with my phone, throw it into ChatGPT. Boom! I got a translation of it right then and there, and I'm like, okay, now I can sign it. Like that's useful, man.
Yeah,
that's super useful. But it's like, what's the limit, right? Because at the same point, if I keep doing that all the time, I'm never going to learn Spanish all the way.
Yeah.
Right. I'm never going to learn Spanish all the way. And I'm probably never going to learn Spanish all the way. And I was using Google Translate for a bunch of things before. Now Google Translate's like crap compared to ChatGPT. Now I can go in. I was doing this the other day. I was like going into my massage therapist thing there, and he's got like, there's like 2 of his students there, and a lot of them will also speak Guarani. And so ChatGPT speaks perfect Guarani. And so I had it where I was like, okay, tell me a joke. Like, tell me a good joke, Guarani joke, and I'll have it translated for me, and I'll see if I can laugh. Right. And like, it didn't translate very well. Like, I mean, the joke didn't translate very well, but like, at least the thing, I knew what the gist of the joke was. So instead, what I did is I had it say to them, I was just saying it in English. So I was like, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to be in on the joke with them against me. So you're going to tell them that you're going to like, you pretend to laugh because I'm going to tell you a joke, but really let's just like make fun of this stupid gringo and do all that kind of stuff. Like, I had it like, I was able to get it to do that, so that like they were kind of laughing and looking at each other because like all of a sudden they think that like the AI is turning on me. So, but like, off topic, but but like AI, like how far is it going to go? How much more of this art are we going to get? How much more are we going to like? Yeah, we're going to get the movies soon enough, but now we're still only at like 8-second clips, 10-second clips. You're not going to get that like Snake Eyes opening long shot, that Nicolas Cage. You just watch. It's the only good part about Snake Eyes is that opening sequence is pretty badass. But anyways, that's my issue. Is we got to be on the lookout for AI authenticity, and I don't know. Well, it's not the last time we're bringing up AI. It's just.
I'm sure it's not. Yeah.
No. That'll be on next week's show.
This has been Here's What I'll Get. I'm Tab Burt.
I'm El Chaco.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call into the Here's What I'll Get podcast, you can call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can leave us a voicemail in the Discord under voicemail upload. We've got a couple here from the hotline.
Hey, Dead Home here. Here's what I don't get. Tables that are too short at restaurants. So, it's a really long story. I got scoliosis. My spine shrinks from day to day, so I range between 5'11" and 6 foot. And I go to this McDonald's, first bad choice, right? And this table is like down at my fucking belly button. I understand I'm all torso and I am a monstrous curse of a human being, but like,
don't say that.
There's a
he's a big guy.
Distance that should be in between, down by my hips and like up above my shoulders. There should be a difference between the two tables. There needs to be one that's just like an extra foot off the ground, so I don't have to. You don't have to sit so uncomfortably. Stay furious.
Yeah, I hate when you have the table that's like right up against your thighs and not closer to just above your belly button.
Yeah. Well, it's like hard for us too, because like my kids are not exactly like, they're not at like booster chair age anymore. Like, that's too much to ask of them. But the amount of times where they're like at a restaurant and like it's like, they're just slightly below their chin, and they're trying to get at it. It's like it kind of kill it. Table height is a hard thing to get right, but table length as well. That's what I thought he said at the beginning too. It's like, trying to cram too many people onto one table.
Yeah, especially when you go somewhere like Cracker Barrel and they got to serve you like your breakfast is on one plate and all the like sides are on all these little small satellite plates, and you end up with like this whole fucking, and everyone's got that going on.
Oh yeah.
There was a restaurant in Tulsa that had these tables where, it has a flat tabletop, but then it had a reveal a few inches back from the edge of the table, and then that held the legs together. And those were really short tables, and not all of the tables had that, but some of them did. And it was like a low table, so it was right against my thighs, and I would slide my knees in and just nail the edge of this fucking table every time. So it got to the point where anytime I ate there, I would like check to see if we were being sat at one of those terrible tables or not. I got another one.
Here's what I don't get. Fucking boomers, man. I got a new boss at work. He's a pretty chill dude, but, you know, he wants to change some stuff. That's typical. So my department, I basically do, like, break fix for a big corporation. So any, like, PCs that need to be fixed, my fucking Bluetooth just connected to my phone, so I hope it didn't ruin. Anyway, there's fuckers here who have been doing this job for over 20 years in this department, and these fuckers gotta change some shit, okay? They just sit there, they work on the same shit all day, every day, sit there and veg out and watch YouTube. My boss is like, yo, what if, hear me out, what if you worked on anything different? Because that shit that you work on, we don't actually need it anymore. In fact, the shelves are over full of that, and there's stuff in there that they're empty of. And of course, all these boomers are like, oh, fuck, changing everything. I've worked on point of sale receipt printers for 30 years, and damn it, I'll work on point of sale receipt printers for the next 20 until I retire. And it's just fucking bullshit. And boomers are the most sensitive motherfuckers, man. Anytime there's anything that could be slightly directed at a criticism of them, they get all fucking butthurt about it. It'll be like, hey man, maybe clean up all the food and stuff that's attracting roaches. And they're like, oh, I can't believe they want me to do that. You know, this shit. And they sit there and they complain over and over about how the younger generations are soft. They might be fucking soft, whatever. But
who raised them?
I don't know. I don't know anybody in my life who bitches if you ask them to wipe their ass. Or anyway, I hope that was pointed well, and I hope my audio didn't break.
No, your audio's
Goodbye.
Yeah, I hate that. This is the way that we've always done it. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's not a fun way to go. Like,
boomers get so attached to the status quo, and it's just like, yeah. So the last time I was fired was like 2012, maybe. Truckin' and Tuckin' and I worked for this party supply store in Tulsa. We worked there for about a year, and it was run by this old couple that were hoarders. So we had this like warehouse section that was just like full of shit, and we kept pushing them to have a tent sale out in the parking lot, and just like all of these old discontinued, like we were going through and we kept finding like huge amounts of discontinued party decorations, like, for Thomas the Tank Engine or something that hadn't been popular for 20 years. And it's like, just like set up some tables, set up a tent out there, and let people come and just sell all this shit for $1, just like get rid of it. But another thing that we did was we reorganized the storage of the stuff that we did have, so it was laid out in the back the same way that it was laid out front. And then you could just like walk down the aisle and be like, oh, we're running low on black napkins or gold plates or, red forks. And they really didn't like that. And because we were like changing too much and like trying to make things easier on all of us. And they ended up firing us because they wanted the store to stay its like cluttered, junky way that we were like fighting against. And yeah, I should have learned then that like you can't change places. People don't like when you try and change things. They want things to be the way that they've always been.
I think I don't even know if that's always a generational thing. Like it can be. I've known uppity people in my generation. I've known uppity people and millennials that don't like a lot of changes. Like, I mean, I brought up before earlier in the show about how my dad's office didn't even have computers in every room, but they adapted. Like, and he's a boomer, and like he's one of the later end boomers, but still, like he adapted to it. So I get it. I get where the guy's coming from, because like now my parents aren't your typical boomers. They lost a lot of their friends during COVID because they didn't get the jab and everybody else did. And like the people get age and change and all that kind of stuff. But Yeah, I see what they mean. Like, okay, so my biggest thing when I was dealing with a lot of boomers was when I was coming into the workforce, and there were so many above you. And the thing was, is that like that was where you got that illusion of your elders are wiser than you completely shattered. Now, yes, there are some pretty amazing wise boomers out there, but at the same time, there's also a bunch of fucking retard boomers out there too, just like there's retard Gen Xers and there's retard millennials. But the thing is that like, it's funny when you brought up the sensitive thing. So are you familiar with like Christopher Langan?
I've heard that name.
So he's like Christopher Langan is like one of the highest recorded IQs on the planet. And like he's super based, and like you see him on Twitter all the time, and he's just like he's quite the character to follow. He's got some pretty interesting insights, but he's also a noticer. And but like he got into a little bit of a pissy fight with like iHypocrite just the other day, because iHypocrite posted some boomer meme, and he got real uppity about it. He was like, how could you label the entire generation? It's like, dude, you're the outlier. Like your IQ is like 180. Like you're the outlier. We're not talking about you.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, man. Like, because again, I brought it up before. Generational things is like I have peers from my grade that are retards and made horrible decisions in their lives. Doesn't mean our whole generation is this or that, but I see what you mean, because there's certain traits or there's certain like statistical probabilities where you see like certain boomers that get stuck in their ways. Like, yeah, when I was a landman, I remember there was guys that were above me, and they were so slow at their job. Like they were just so slow and inefficient. And like the second that you make things efficient, like that was like an attack, but it's, I don't know. It's too hard to paint across the board, but I get what you're saying. Like in the workplace, especially when they're like the ceiling above you and they won't get out of the way.
They have the institutional power from being there.
Well, yeah. And it's not come back the other way. Like, dude, like Justin Trudeau was a Gen Xer and like doing a horrible job, just a horrible job. So it's like the next generations, once they get into power, I don't know how much better they're going to be. We'll see.
Hopefully better. Yeah.
Doubtful.
Fingers crossed.
Doubtful.
It'll just stay shit forever.
Pretty much.
The unshitting will continue until morale improves.
Do we have any more?
Nope, that's it. That's all. That's the entire segment.
Charlie was talking about the file. The digital media will fall apart. I know that's something that anybody who had a VHS collection would be aware of now. It degrades. Even the plastic or your CDRs, all those kind of things. Yeah, they degrade. Nothing lasts forever. Although, that's why we need the Library of Alexandria. We need to keep writing books, and we need to protect them. Yeah. Even like film grade, like most of the time when they bring out like the theatrical version of certain movies and stuff like that, like they have so much work that has to go into them because the acids on the film stock, like over time degrade, and nothing lasts forever, man.
I remember I went and saw a 35 millimeter print of Wrath of Khan when I was in high school. That it was, the whole thing was tinged pink because the cyan and the cyan and the yellow had faded out of the original celluloid. Yeah. So it had this magenta tinge the entire movie, which your brain kind of filtered out after about 15 minutes, but it was like, I want to see this movie on the big screen. And this was before everything was getting digitally remastered for everything.
It is again, like I think your biggest investment should be in good books. And I mean, like, especially books that are out of print or banned or no books. Like those are
truly.
I'm not
banned
talking about
books,
porn.
not
I'm talking about
liberal
like
bullshit banned books.
wrong think books. Those are the ones that you want to get your hands on.
There's this bookstore in San Francisco that has banned the Harry Potter books because J.K. Rowling is a TERF, and sure enough, they have like a whole section of banned books. It's like, oh yeah, a high school wouldn't let kids read this one time 20 years ago. That's a banned book.
Hey, okay, going back to the movie Field of Dreams, by the way, like that's the one scene of the whole movie that I can't stand. Is the PTA meeting.
Yeah.
And they're talking about banning that one book from the school, the boat rocker, and it's like the boomer, like, remember the 60s? We fought for these things and all this kind of stuff. And like they're like, we got to get this smut out of the schools. Their daughter Karen is like 8 in the movie, and they're talking about some movie or some book. It's like, yeah, you don't want those in the schools. Like, you can choose it after, but like if it's public education in the schools, you don't. I don't know. Anyway, way off topic, and we've run out of voicemails, so I think this would be a good place to wrap it up. 2 hours. Yeah.
This is the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for supporting the show, and we'll be back.
All right, throw some prayers Tab's way. He's got some battle ahead. God bless
Appreciate
everybody.
that.
Cheers.